All right, it's time for the Fantasy Picks with Jeff Pasquino. It's brought to you by the Piccalilli Inn on Route 206 in Chemung, home of South Jersey's best wings. Jeff Pasquino, fantasy football expert from footballguys.com, here to set your week number 3 fantasy football lineups. If you have questions this week for Jeff Pasquino, send us a text on the PlaySugarHouse.com text board, 609-403-0973. Hunter will keep his eye on the text board. He'll ask your fantasy football questions for Jeff Pasquino coming up. But first, we've got Thursday night football tonight. Got Miami, and we've got Jacksonville. Welcome back, Jeff. How are you?
Good to be back. Plenty of injuries this week. Lots going on.
Lots of injuries. I'm sure the waiver wire questions are going to start piling in here on guys to pick up off the waiver wires. But first, let's look at tonight's game. You got Jacksonville, a lot of action in their offense against the Miami Dolphins. So who are some of the guys you like for Thursday night football?
I think this is a good game for Jacksonville to shine. I think Gardner Minshew is a startable quarterback this weekend, a top 12 guy. You got James Robinson at running back. He's done some pretty good things. DJ Baby Chark is out for Jacksonville. So Keelan Cole is a wide receiver 2, and Laviska Shenault is a wide receiver 3. On the Miami side, the guy I've been saying to pick up is Myles Gaskin. He's a running back 2/flex, much better in PPR leagues. Devontae Parker's a wide receiver 3, and a good tight end is Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki, yeah, from right up the road here in Southern Regional. So I had a big game last week. All right, let's look at the Week 3 quarterbacks and get some takes from you on some of these guys. Mitchell Trubisky, 2 weeks in a row, he's been pretty good. So is Mitch Trubisky a guy you're ready to play?
This is a good spot for him against Atlanta, who gave up a ton of yards and completely blew last week's game. But I think he's still more of a quarterback, too. I think there's better names to go out there, but in a super flex, I'd use him.
Also, Jared Goff had a nice week last week against Philadelphia. He's got Buffalo this week. So is Goff a back-to-back play?
Yeah, Buffalo's defense is much more difficult, and they're trying to run the ball for the Rams a little bit more. So Goff is a quarterback, too, this week.
All right, let's go to Tom Brady in Tampa. I know a lot of people probably got him thinking he was going to be a big play. Evans and Godwin. Of course, Godwin was hurt, but is Brady against Denver in your lineup?
Again, this is a matchup issue. Denver's a good defense, good secondary. I think he's more of a quarterback, too. He'll get his spots, but not this week.
What about looking at Justin Herbert, the rookie? Had a nice game last week, over 300 yards against the Chiefs. Now he's got Carolina. That team, the Panthers, have been giving up 30-plus.
He did really well in his first ever start. They still want to get Tyrod out there if he's available, but we think Herbert's going to start, but he's more of a quarterback too, even though Carolina's not a great defense.
All right, people are wondering, what about Drew Brees? No Michael Thomas, didn't look himself. Now he's got Green Bay.
Well, I've been touting that the Raiders are a sleeper pick for me this year. They looked really well. They moved the ball nicely. Breeze had some issues without Michael Thomas, and that's a tough one. And Green Bay's defense is pretty good. So, again, he's a quarterback, too. There are better guys this week like Cam Newton or even Joe Burrow this week.
All right, we'll move over to the running backs. If you have a question for Jeff, 609-403-0973. Keep your questions coming in, 609-403-0973. We'll get to as many as we can. But let's go over to the running backs here and get a couple takes from you. All right, let's start with Kenyon Drake. Everybody hears about Murray and D-Hop, but what about Drake?
Yeah, Chase Edmonds has eaten into his workload, but Drake was used more down the stretch. I think he's a running back, too, because Edmonds, they still want to get involved. And they like to throw the ball. Plus, the quarterback, Murray, runs the ball a lot. So Drake is a running back, too.
I'm going to go to Miles Sanders because, obviously, he got 20 carries last time. But this Bengals defense, they've given up a ton of yards on the ground. So what's the forecast for Sanders?
He is a top 5 running back this week because of the matchup and because he's going to get the workload. So I think he's a must-start this week.
Okay, if you watch the Rams the last couple of weeks, you've seen a bunch of guys get the carries there, Brown and Henderson. What is your take on the running back situation in L.A.?
A lot of people have been picking up Henderson. I question that because he was used so much in the fourth quarter and kind of garbage time. I think he's a flex kind of play, but they're just waiting for Cam Akers to get healthy again and get that rib injury right. Henderson is a buy low, sell high, trade him if you can kind of guy.
All right, let's go over to James Conner over in Pittsburgh. Kind of been just so far this year with Big Ben back. They got Houston this week.
It's a good matchup for him. It's more of a running back, too. I think he's definitely put Snell back in the running back 2 spot in the depth chart there in Pittsburgh. Conner's a solid play as a running back, too.
All right, let's get another running back. Let's go to the San Francisco situation and see what's going on. Mostert's out there, so what are you doing in San Francisco?
The name everybody's picking up is Jerry McKinnon, which is a good pickup, but because we've got Mostert is probably going to be out. But the guy I like, and I was going to save him for later, but let's drop him now. Jeff Wilson is a goal line guy. He's going to wait the wires out there. If you need a running back and you need maybe a touchdown possibility, I'm using him this week. Jeff Wilson is the guy to go pick up.
Washington's running back situation. What do you advise there?
Punt. But other than that, I would probably go with Gibson.
Punt.
I think it's kind of a mess. The sleeper guy I like is McKissick. I think he's got a lot of talent. I like smaller school guys who could dominate the touches. He did really well late. I think he's good too. And in very deep leagues, pick up Bryce Love and stash him just in case he gets active later in the year. All
right, let's go over to the wide receivers again. If you have a question for Jeff, keep them coming in. 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. We see your questions come in. We'll get to them in just a second. But first, let's go over to the wide receivers. Can Calvin Ridley keep it up?
I think so. He's getting a lot of good targets and a lot of good openings on the goal line. Had a great touchdown last week. I think Matt Ryan's got to move the ball through the air. Ridley he's a definite wide receiver 1.
All right. What about Stephon Diggs in Buffalo? Last week, Allen had over 400 yards.
Yeah, Allen's got a big arm, and Diggs can run and go get it. So I like him. John Brown is still banged up, so Diggs, he's the show. He's a wide receiver, too, with even better upside.
All right. I think, you look around and say, what about Adam Thielen? No Diggs there. Thielen seems to be, doing pretty well without Diggs in Minnesota, even though the offense stinks.
Yeah, they had a bad week last week, but the Colts defense is better than most people think. So I think they're going to see a rebound this week. Thielen gets a lot of volume. He should get 6 or 7 catches, 80 to 100 yards, maybe find the end zone. Wide receiver 1 status this week.
All right. What about the Eagles situation with Jalen Reagor out? Who benefits?
I think you got to go with Jackson. I think he's going to be the guy. But the real guys that are going to benefit, I think you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end work. We have both Goddard and Ertz in our top 8 this week. We don't often see 2 tight ends in the top 10 in the same team. Those are the 2 guys I think benefit the most.
Okay, what about we will ask a lot about these rookie wide receivers because I'm sure everybody scooped them up. But Henry Ruggs last week, Justin Jefferson, Jerry Judy. What are you saying about playing these rookie receivers?
I like Judy a lot. I'll throw Lamb in there too. I think he's definitely worth starting. I'm starting both those guys in some leagues. Judy's now the number 1 in Denver. I think Lamb is the wide receiver 2 over Michael. Name blank, but and Michael Gallup in Dallas. But as far as the other rookies, Ruggs can't get his quarterback to throw deep, so he's having problems there. So same problem with Jefferson in Minnesota. So I think those 2 guys are struggling because the quarterbacks are struggling. All
right, let's get to the listener questions. If you have a question for Jeff, we'll try to squeeze in a couple here for you. 609-403-0973. Get them in. Hunter, what do we got?
All right, Josh Allen or Cam Newton?
We actually have Cam Newton higher, and I like it because he's going to run the ball.
All right, need 1 wide receiver here. Justin Jefferson, Ruggs, or Ayuk?
Oof. I would probably go with Ruggs. I think they're going to get him the ball more against New England.
Okay, how about need 2 running backs? James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs, if he's healthy, I really love him this year, and Miles Sanders is top 5 back. Those are 3 good backs, though.
Gronk or
By the way,
Austin
Robinson
Hooper?
Plays tonight. Remember, if you have Robinson, you got to get him in tonight.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to play it safe, use Robinson and Sanders this week.
Okay. Gronk or Austin Hooper for tight end spot?
Gronk, Tampa Bay, the coach just came out and said that he's not a good Tampa's not using tight ends much, so I think you got to go with the Atlanta tight end Hurst.
Should this texter find a way to slide Darius Slayton in over Metcalf or Lockett?
Not over those 2, but I do like Slayton a lot because they're really banged up a wide receiver for the Giants. So, but it's Slayton and Ingram going to be your main 2 targets for the Giants.
Marvin Jones or Myles Gaskin?
I think I would go with Myles Gaskin, especially in a PPR league. He's going to get a lot of work tonight. People are going to learn about him tonight.
All right, Jeff Pasquino for thefootballguys.com. Thanks to people who send their questions in. Of course, you can always tweet at Jeff if we didn't get to your question. But we want to get some sleepers, waiver wire guys that you're definitely putting in your lineup.
Well, a couple of running backs I didn't touch on. Mike Davis is probably number one pickup or close to it this week. So is Devonta Freeman for the Giants. He may take another week to get acclimated, but Davis is a good start this week as a running back too. Leonard Fournette had a nice garbage touchdown. Tampa Bay wants to run the ball. He's a solid running back too. Running backs are definitely in the premium this week. Wide receiver, Carolina is the story there. I think DJ Moore has been picked up as a wide receiver one, but Robbie Anderson, I had him as a sleeper this year. He's had 2 100-yard games. He's a wide receiver two. Go out and get him this week. And one last thing, people forget about defenses. Cleveland is a startable defense this week against Washington because they're terrible this week. Because they're the number 8 defense. Go get them and use them this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com helping you with your Week 3 fantasy football lineup. Get your players in there for the Thursday night game tonight. And as always, Jeff, good luck.
Good luck, everybody, and enjoy the games.
All right, he'll be back next Thursday answering your fantasy football questions for week number 3.